You ever work for somebody named Trillo? They own the lumber yard.
My father was a master stonemason. He never cut fucking wood.
A contractor then. Built garden apartments.
There was somebody named Trillo. He had 7 daughters. I can't remember. I thought you were going to ask my advice about Ralph Cifaretto.
Got any thoughts?
What else do I have left? Real contrimps you have on your hands here. A good kid, but you never should have put Gigi in there.
Strong, good earner, well respected.
Not by that crew. To them, he's a gibbeline coming over to butt in. They don't trust him. They undermine him. On top of that, you got Ralph now pissing in their ears. Any day, you'll have a mutiny on your hands.
So I take Gigi out. What kind of message is that send?
That you're indecisive and unsure of yourself.
Exactly. What the fuck would I replace him with anyway?
All good questions.
Great. What's the fucking answer?
Who says there is one? That's what being a boss is. You steer the ship the best way you know. Sometimes it's smooth, sometimes you hit the rocks. In the meantime, you find your pleasures where you can.
Thank you, everybody. Hi, welcome back. Welcome to another episode of the show. That's what being
Number
a boss...
46?
I don't know. Does it matter?
Yeah, I guess you're right. I'm loud.
Thanks, Matthew. That's kind of like what being a podcaster is, you know? You're like the boss of a small business. You got to make decisions, you know? You're never sure if you're making the right ones. Some people go, Matt's a stunad. You got to let him go. Then some people go, I love Matt, you know?
Yeah.
And
50-50.
Yeah. And you're kind of like the boss of your podcast, right, Anna?
I mean, we're all bosses, right? We're girl bosses.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I know I'm a girl boss.
Yeah. You took the words right out of my mouth. Being a podcaster is exactly like being in the mob.
Yeah.
It's like
I think we talked about this.
Yeah,
last
we
time.
did. Yeah.
Anna's back. Yeah, we do. We run a great
Welcome back.
We run a great little racket. You
Yeah.
know? You check the Patreon. Sometimes it goes up. It goes down. I think my grandmother was given $100 a month and she canceled recently.
What?
My grandma was pledging $100.
To your podcast?
Yeah.
Really?
No, that
Yeah.
seems like a scheme, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go sign up your Alzheimer grandmas at different nursing
Yeah.
homes.
Oh, yeah.
We just get like,
Hey,
like
now you're thinking.
get like 15 Patreons.
What-
and we're like,
what
up to
that's
was-
1,500.
What was she extorting from you? Like affection and attention?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And she also got these great benefits for $100 a month. You get to see me recording
He has to wear
in
a
a dress. So that's that's
Cam
the level.
girling, yeah.
Wait a minute. That would be like an amazing scam. Like you do like shows at nursing homes, and then afterwards you sign them up for your Patreon. It's such an inconsequential
Right.
amount of money that no one would notice.
Yeah, it's like the phone card scam.
Yeah. What is that again? They sell bad phone cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if we could get prosecuted by the government. You know, they're like, this is clearly a faulty podcast you're selling to senior citizens who don't know where they are.
You're like, I gave those senior citizens a reason to get up in the morning
Yeah.
with my live podcast show.
Yeah.
You don't know what I did for them. Yeah.
I liked somebody said like that you were joking into the void. Me being the void.
Oh yeah. I remember one time in like fourth grade we like went to a nursing home to like sing to old people.
Okay.
Or we like went to like color with them or something, you know. And we're just walking around, we're like finding our seats, and this lady is just sitting there going, "Help me. Please help me."
Oh no.
And my friend Matt was like, "What do you need, ma'am?" And I don't know if anyone came to help her
Do you remember
or
that
what.
commercial where they would press a button and it's like, help me, I can't get up. It's
Yes.
just like a child
The
comes
alarm.
and helps though. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Life alert.
Life
Yeah.
alert, yeah.
It's like Amazon Dash.
Why are you making fun
to-
of that? That's a
to
product.
pick you up.
That's a product that helps a lot of people.
Life alert, yeah.
Like, imagine like your grandma falls over. And the only thing she can reach is the button that brings her more paper towels. So there's just a pile of paper towels showing up at her door.
Yeah, yeah. Just a decomposing body to clean it up. Oh, well, bounty works.
You're like, well, at least we got paper towels to clean up grandma.
Right.
Yeah. You have I think you posted a picture recently of your grandfather.
Yeah.
Right? He's in his 90s.
He's 97.
Wow.
This is actually too real because he fell down. I'm not supposed to even say this, and I think he's okay now. But like he had one of those life alert buttons that he pressed. But he's 97.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
God bless.
I have two grandparents left. They're 92 and 93, and it's the constant anxiety of like, you know, what's going to happen.
Now, do these guys all have their memory about him?
Yeah, they're not. My grandpa's not senile.
That's
I mean,
great.
whatever senility he had, he incurred like as a much younger man.
Mm-hmm.
But he has had very few like declines due to old age.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, my grandma's 96 and she's got Alzheimer's.
Wow,
though.
you guys, we have we're like in the 90 club of grandparents.
Yeah. But every time I see mom on the phone, I'm like, well, this is it.
Yeah.
Here we go.
And then you have to do that thing where you like put on some dark shades and like, well, he lived a long life. I love him to death.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were supposed to do a show with Gondelman, and then we weren't prepared. So it's a Sopranos episode, everybody, which means we didn't do a ton of research. We just
So
throwing
I'm
this
sloppy
together.
seconds.
No.
That's okay. I'll take any opportunity to talk about my favorite show, The Sopranos.
Yeah. You're rewatching it again.
I'm rewatching
right?
it, yeah.
Yeah.
Hell of an
And,
intro, Mike.
I rewatch it every
What?
year.
It's Comics Unleashed.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said you rewatch it every fall, right? And there's a
Yes, yeah. When kind of the weather gets gloomier and I start to like ponder my mortality, I put on The Sopranos and get nostalgic for my home state of New Jersey.
Mhm.
Yeah, that intro. You watch intro. You don't skip intro.
No, it's funny that you say that because The Sopranos intro is the only intro to any show that I don't skip out of honor and respect for the show
Nice.
and its creators
Same.
and the memory of
Very-
James Gandolfini.
It's great. I mean, you get to see all the sights, you know, and then you get home on the driveway, and he closes the SUV door.
And when you're from Jersey, you recognize all the places that he's driving by. You know all the
Yes.
exits and what's over there, and like
One of the most fulfilling things about watching the show, just like on a completely like mundane mechanical level, is when you're from New Jersey, is recognizing all the New Jersey centric references. When Carmela's like, Tony, I'm going to go to Fortunoff's, or like they go to Pathmark, or
they go to Fountains of Wayne in that one episode, which was a a patio store.
Right. That's when he runs into the cop who he accidentally got that assemblyman to fire or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that's a beautiful scene.
Yeah.
Because it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's like bathos or whatever, like the profundity of like a Roman, a kind of a descendant of the Romans standing in this like Greco-Roman store of like stucco replicas of marble statues.
I never thought of that.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. What are the other Jersey-centric I mean, like, you know, when they reference certain towns like Montclair or Bloomfield, or, you know, you do kind of know what they're talking about.
Yeah. I'm not even, I've just driven through Jersey, and it's like, oh, I can identify with that, you know?
Yeah, it's the best state in the United States.
There is a there is a, I think Hot 22s is the strip club that they use for Bada Bing, or it was something.
Satin Dolls.
That was Satin Dolls,
Yeah.
right? That was the Bada Bing. But there was another club that we went to in college. It was called Hot 22s, and we told the girl that worked there that me and my friend told her that we worked with retarded dolphins, kind of like as a joke,
Yeah.
and she like believed us. And then we came back, and she was like, "Oh, hey guys, you're like, you remember us?" She's like, "Yeah, you're the dolphin guys."
Oh no.
So that was cool. Anna, what do you think of that gaming chair?
Oh yeah, I'm sitting in a gaming chair. Like I already told Mike and Matt, I feel like a Metzafenoik in the chair. It's like mega gay.
Yeah, you're plugged into
I
the
don't
Matrix.
know. Games are for children.
Mm-hmm.
No offense,
No,
guys.
totally.
But it is comfortable.
It's
And it's very
comfortable.
high tech. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
it's very ugly. I mean, it's cool looking. It has kind of it's like orange and black. It has a high tech aesthetic, but it's not like a chair that you would put into your well appointed apartment with like succulents and mid century modern furniture. It definitely stands out.
Oh, you wouldn't? I thought it looked good with the aloe plants. Yeah. So you said that like you're rewatching the show and you're noticing stuff. Can you think of anything that you noticed this time around that you haven't picked up on?
Oh God,
before?
I mean, I've been screen capping it like profusely. Let's see. I mean, I like made some notes if I like.
Sure. Now, do you rewatch it from like just the pilot?
Yeah, the pilot.
straight
Yeah. I love how Meadow is kind of like chubby in the pilot, and then gets anorexia in the first season, and then gets chubby again, and then kind of like levels out. And like I don't know why this wasn't written into the story. That's like one of the greatest mysteries of The Sopranos, because it's completely conceivable that the daughter of parents like that would develop an eating disorder.
Right. You would think David Chase would have looked at her body and been like, you know what, we got to write this into the show.
I mean, a thing that I did notice was actually I noticed how many of the actors are actually from Goodfellas.
Yeah.
Like that's something I never fully appreciated before. I think like I looked this up and like 27 of them were. I mean, of course, like you know, Lorraine Bracco and Michael Imperioli.
Tony Sirico is in Goodfellas
Tony
briefly.
Sirico, yeah.
Out of the...
I was like, where was he in Goodfellas? And then Frank Vincent, rest in peace, who's like one of the hottest men I've ever seen. He looks so senatorial.
Yeah.
But he's one of those men who looked kind of like an oily Goomba in youth, and then got really kind of like leveled out and got salt and pepper, like
right,
like magisterial and sexy.
I do feel like Italian men like age pretty well. Like
Yeah,
I don't
they
have to
do.
worry about because you can still be like you can still have kind of like a short haircut and
Right.
wear a hoodie and drive a dump truck and
Well, I
you
feel
look
like
all right.
by season 6, I found James Gandolfini attractive. Just his character and power.
Oh, he's very attractive.
From season 1, though.
All women think he's attractive because I think we all have daddy issues, and in my case, it's like super deep because my dad physically was probably about the same size and did the same thing where he like dangled the prosciutto in front of the refrigerator.
Sure.
And like breathed heavily because he was obese. But like, yeah, I don't know. He's an attractive guy. He's a graduate of Rutgers University, my alma mater. There's like levels.
My sister went there.
Yeah. Sluckers.
Just all adds up.
Sluckers, yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed, who else is from Goodfellas was on The Sopranos is the guy who played Maury.
Oh yeah, he plays the Hasidic guy.
He plays the Hasidic guy. I
Yeah.
love that guy.
Yeah.
He's so familiar.
He recently passed away, right?
Oh, he did.
I think.
Oh, rest in peace
Yeah.
to him too.
Richard something.
The
Richard
guy that
Wright.
created the Golem.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
He's just like such a kind of shtetl figure, which I love. Like, dragging his feet and like carrying a little velvet satchel stuffed with shekels. It's really adorable. And also another person that you guys have to confirm this for me because I'm not certain, but I think the woman who plays Carmela's mom
She
played
was in-
Lorraine Bracco's mom, Karen's mom on Goodfellas.
She did, yeah. Her name is I forget her name, but Deb's ex-boyfriend is an actor, and he like took her class, and I heard she's like an insane person. I mean, as a lot of actors are.
She seems like a kind of a classically kind of well-trained, like a
Yeah.
real thespian.
Yeah.
What kind of man stays out all night? I love that woman.
Yeah.
And this was funny because I think Lorraine Bracco was originally supposed to play Carmela Soprano and declined because she wanted a more meaty and challenging role.
Yeah.
I think that was like they really dodged a bullet with that because she really would have made a bad Carmela.
I think so too. I think that was such an interesting. All right, the show's over, everybody.
Yeah.
That was an interesting choice for Edie Falco to play that character so like subtly, because Carmela could have been like cartoony.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I forgot who said this to me, but it's interesting because the acting of kind of the main characters is so subtle, and that's like kind of brought into sharp relief by the acting of all the secondary characters, which is so stiff and kind of like theatrical. like, you know, Syl or Paulie or somebody.
Yeah, pussy.
Pussy, yeah. The other thing I will say that I noticed this time around that I hadn't fully appreciated is that this show, what makes it so special also is that it belongs to like a very specific like 9/11 moment.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, like the first 3 or 4 seasons, I think the towers are in the opening credits and then they're not anymore.
Oh, okay.
Which I think they should have kept them.
Mm.
But you can see, like, you can kind of like picture Tony and his crew sitting around at like Satrial's and being like mourning the loss of the towers.
Right.
And temporarily like suspending their contempt for law enforcement.
Right.
To celebrate the brave men and women who died that day.
Yeah, shift the hate over to like Muslims from Jews.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotta band together.
Did I tell you? Oh, so like I was watching that show with Larry Silverstein on it. He like owned, I think, the Twin Towers. He was on this Bravo show.
Wait, somebody owned the Twin Towers?
Yeah, I think.
I guess
so.
I should have seen that coming. Okay.
Right.
It was like a
no, it was just a collective. Yeah. Yeah, it was like
everybody just pitches
a bunch
in
of
what
hippies
they can.
built it together. Yeah, that's why it fell. No, but we talked about on the 9/11 episode. Larry Silverstein was like, I was supposed to be in the building that day, but my wife made me an appointment at the dermatologist. And when you watch him give those interviews on YouTube, like all the comments are just like, "You fucking lying," you know?
Yeah.
Because they think he did it.
Is that's where this whole conspiracy that the Jews planned and carried secretly planned and carry out 9/11.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, when Christopher tells his D-girl slam piece, like, you guys have your own Cosa Nostra.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, that was a great episode too,
great.
where Christopher gets introduced to that world, and he's like, everyone's a fucking phony.
He's like Holden Caulfield in Catcher in the Rye.
Yeah.
Christopher is a wonderful character too, because he's like literally like every cocked eyebrow film bro that I've ever met. Where they're like, if I tell you, I'm gonna have to kill you.
Yeah, he's more tracksuit than he is man.
Yeah.
They look good though.
Yeah. Yeah, so actually let's talk about Frank Vincent a little bit, because almost everyone that I talk to is like, they say they don't like Phil Leotardo, but he was honestly one of my favorite characters in the show.
I have to say I don't really remember Phil Leotardo because I watched season 6 kind of like very passively, which is why I'm rewatching again. Like all of my trivia is stacked toward the beginning of the show. Yeah.
Okay.
But he's hot for a guy with like a 1/2-inch forehead.
Yeah.
One funny piece of trivia that I had is that I have an ex-boyfriend who's an actor. He was kind of a Christopher Moltisanti guy. And you know, I dated him when I was like in high school and college in New Jersey. And he is in the scene where Phil Leotardo gets hacked. He plays like a gas station attendant.
Does he have any lines?
No, he just runs over toward him when he's like decapitated.
Excuse me, New Jersey state law states that I need to pump your gas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because I was watching a compilation of like sit downs, and so there's a sit down with Phil and Little Carmine and Tony, and then Carmine's like, let's put this all to bed, you know, between Vito and your brother, whatever happened there. Phil's brother got killed. He's like, whatever happened there? He died in my arms, you fucking cocksucker. And it was like the first time I think Little Carmine ever got yelled at.
Okay.
Which was interesting.
That's interesting too. There's so many kind of like little interplays with like the mob genre in general. Like I'm wondering if that's like kind of a reference to Casino, where Frank Vincent's character turns on, was it Nicky Santoro, Joe Pesci's character in that movie, and has him and his brother killed in that cornfield, which is like the saddest scene I've ever seen in a movie, when they're like being buried alive and breathing.
Yeah, they thought they were getting made.
Yeah, and of course there's
that was Goodfellas.
Wait, that was
God
that was
damn it.
Wait, why were they getting drove out to the cornfield
to negotiate with this like
something.
splinter crew?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
But and then of course there's the scene. I think this one is in season 2 when Chris Moltisanti shoots the bakery guy in the foot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like a la Spider from Goodfellas.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's like very cute. There's like little,
Yeah.
it's like a jigsaw puzzle of references.
Yeah, he's like, "Do I look like a pussy to you?"
There's also that when Tony's mother passes away, the funeral director's like, I'm gonna use all my power to make this better, and Tony's like, don't go crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. So that's a Godfather reference, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Which actually I tried to watch Godfather recently, and like, as much as I liked it when I was a kid, it does feel a little like dated now, like it does feel like the people who made the movie like believe in these things.
Like a little bit stiff and canned. And
Yeah.
it's kind of, it's kind of a morality tale, right?
Right.
It's kind of, let's say, like not uplifting, but it's kind of a stentorian, kind of like loud, bloviating morality tale. The Sopranos is so great because it's a total parody and it's so mundane.
Yeah.
They just like hang out at a pork store or strip club all the time and socialize.
Yeah.
Yeah, why can't my life just fast forward to the days when I get to hang out? First of all, there's not even any more pork stores, really.
No.
Yeah.
That's the thing about New York. There's no pork stores anymore and there's no Jewish delis, which is like, the kind of fabric of New York was created by wops, Jews, and blacks, and all of that culture is like under assault now.
Yeah.
You can't even get like some chopped liver. I was like complaining to a friend of mine, like I have to go to Brighton Beach to get like
Yeah.
decent Jewish food. It's depressing.
Either that or it's like the places that are open, it's almost like it's a parody of itself. To go to Cats, like
Yeah.
New Yorkers don't even do that.
It's like fake
$1 million.
neoliberal like deli with like millennial pink walls.
Right. Yeah, they just opened a place in Greenpoint like that. I think it's called Frankel's.
Frankel's,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Yeah. And it's,
I went there yesterday.
oh, you did?
Yes.
How was the food?
It's good. It's
Yeah.
good, but I like, I resent being served by girls with like cupcake chest plates and like thighs full of like stick and pokes because like in Jewish tradition you can't even get buried in a Jewish cemetery with tattoos.
Right.
Like hire some like real McCoys.
Yeah. Make it authentic. That's like that Polly Walnuts was pissed off when they were at that cappuccino place, like kind of like Starbucks. It's like they're selling our own culture
The
back
rape of
to
the
us.
culture
Oh,
again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, I feel like Polly Walnuts. So Tony Sirico is another really interesting guy because he's like a guy who wasn't an actor. He literally served in the military and had a criminal background, much like Polly Walnuts. But you guys, I don't know if you've ever seen The Search for One-Eyed Jimmy. It's a film that I recommend to everyone. Aida Turturro's in it too, and I think some other Sopranos bit players. And he's in it. He plays a mobster called the Snake, who was previously called the Whale because he was morbidly obese, but went away to some like resort spot and lost a
That's
ton of
funny.
weight.
That's funny.
And he's Snake. Oh, it's a comedy.
It's really funny.
Nice.
Steve Buscemi's in it too.
Samuel L. Jackson. Wow.
Yeah, real all-star cast.
John Turturro's in it too, right?
Yeah, all the Turturros. Nick.
He might be the best
Aida.
actor alive.
Yeah, he might be. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. Other than Aida, none of the other Turturros were on The Sopranos. But I remember reading that Tony Sirico agreed to play Polly Walnuts under the stipulation that his character would not be a rat or a fag.
Oh, really?
Which is like so hilarious.
Like to have a writer like that.
It's just he's on the phone with like his agent's assistant who's like 22 from Westchester.
Yeah.
Make sure the word fag is in my contract.
Yeah.
But I thought there was that scene where like he goes to the seance thing and the guy's like he asks if it itches and he's like fucking quiz.
Yeah.
Throws the chair. So that's interesting.
That's so funny. You're like watching the new HBO show, and you're like, I don't want to be kissing any men.
it would be nice. It would be nice to have that kind of negotiating power.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
Well, I think I guess they wanted him so bad. I think the story arc that happens to Vito was originally supposed to happen to Paulie, and he was
Oh.
like, "Hell no, I'm gonna back out."
Really?
Yeah.
I guess that would kind of make sense. 'Cause
Right.
I told Deb, I was like, there's a character who's gay, and she's like, it's Paulie.
He seems like he would be gay.
Yeah.
He could be. He seems like a guy who might like a finger
Yeah.
up the butt.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just really weird to be a working actor who basically collapses reality and fiction and has certain stipulations for characters you will and won't play. Like, remember when Christopher takes the acting class and he won't play the gentleman caller from Glass Menagerie? So the beleaguered drama teacher assigns him like the James Dean role in Rebel Without a Cause.
Yeah.
Because he won't play the role
Yeah.
because it's too cucked and gay.
Yeah.
Anyway, which is like, that's like a beautiful thing, because like the whole point of acting is that you're supposed to play characters that
Yeah,
kind of
totally.
transcend your own boundaries, but at the same time you could get like a totally really good performance out of an actor who just wants to play themselves.
Right.
Right.
And that, I think I said that on the last one, but like it kind of reminds me of Barry, where they're just like really good at playing that hard edged, just that version of themselves.
What's Barry?
Oh, that's the new Bill Hader.
Oh, okay.
Is that right? Bill
Yeah.
Hader on HBO, where he's like he's the hitman with Henry Winkler as like the acting coach.
It's about a
The
hitman
Fonz?
it's about a hitman who takes an acting class and they focus on the acting class.
Oh, okay. So
More
it's
about
like
that.
it's like kind of like a show in the wake of The Sopranos, basically, like that kind of meta narrative. Okay.
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
like they're doing like
Um,
this stupid fucking warm up act, like improv games and
Mhm.
stuff, and he's like, you cut to like him like murdering a guy at night, so it's like you get the best of both worlds.
Jeffrey Joseph was on an episode of Sopranos. He's a friend of ours who's a comic, and he played the guy who accompanies Johnny Sack to his daughter's wedding.
Okay.
So Jeffrey's he's the black guy that tells Phil Leotardo to stand back.
Okay.
But one thing Jeffrey was saying was like yeah, that wedding scene like took forever to film, and he's like all the Italian guys were talking and they were like, yeah, there would never be an Italian president in this country. They put a bullet in his head. And Jeffrey's like, this is the same stuff we talk about.
Yeah.
Although maybe it's I don't know.
That's like I just watched the episode where Richard where Melfi gets back together with her Italian American Anti-Defamation League husband.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm
That's
tired
so
of
funny to
being
me.
mistaken for a thug because my name ends in a vowel.
That's so funny to me that those people exist.
I dated one.
Mm.
One of my most recent ex-boyfriend is like this. He actually, I shouldn't talk shit about somebody I dated, but I can't resist.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to need serious psychoanalysis to live down dating this guy for 2 years.
Mhm.
He was like, literally, he refused to watch The Sopranos and Goodfellas and Godfather and Casino because he thought that those forms of cultural production, entertainment, perpetuated Italian American stereotypes.
He's like, Anna, let's watch The Bicycle Thief one more time.
Oh my God, he made me turn off The Godfather 15 minutes in.
That's
Yeah.
so much
It
bullshit.
made him so angry.
Anything where it's like turn it off, it's like what are you gonna control what I'm watching?
Oh,
Come
But
on,
did
get
he
out of here.
did he have experience with being labeled as a criminal or something, or did he have a hard time getting a job?
No,
or
he's a
like,
media theorist from like Syosset or something.
What a
No,
pussy.
but like, it was like
I mean, he sounds like a nice guy, but what a pussy.
no, he was fine, but it was just like kind of there's like three ways of interpreting Italian American entertainment like narratives in the United States. One is like sincere over identification with the glamour of it, like certain like working class teenage boys do. Two is sincere revulsion at it because it like perpetuates stereotypes, and then like three is like a self-awareness that it's parody.
Yeah, it's fiction.
Like the beauty of something like Goodfellas, right? Especially Goodfellas, is that some people can read it kind of like on it's you can read it on many levels. Like it's on one hand, it's like kind of a glamorous myth of the mafia, but then actually if you watch it carefully, you're like, wait, these guys are fucking loser cokeheads.
Mm-hmm.
they are.
Yeah. all
Yeah,
of
like
them.
what kind of stuff did he enjoy? Like what kind of to not I mean, The Sopranos is so clearly parody, and it's a family drama through the lens of this world. Like what
It's-
did he?
I don't know.
You know?
probably, I don't know, like that priest kitty diddling movie. I
What's-
mean, this guy was a
oh.
real Cusimano, a wonder bread wop, as we say in New Jersey.
Yeah.
But no, I was thinking about this. Like, allow me to get annoying and academic for a minute.
Please.
I'm going to do some cultural critique. There was a Russian literary theorist in the 1920s called Viktor Shklovsky who came up with this theory of estrangement, like of why artworks are so great, because they take something kind of like ordinary and mundane and throw a wrench in it by making it kind of weird and uncanny, and that's what allows you to sort of like elevate the mundane and like how would I say it, like it brings into kind of sharp relief what the work of art is actually about. And like in the case of The Sopranos, it's about being like a middling father trying to make ends meet in kind of an economically uncertain climate. It just wouldn't have been as profound if Tony was, say, like a high school principal or like an accountant. But the same story applies, minus all like the breaking of kneecaps and like, you know, philandering with Kumars.
Yeah, I guess without that, you don't have those like life and death stakes.
Yeah, it
just
doesn't.
not
It
as
doesn't
interesting.
seem as profound because it's so close to our own experiences growing up with parents of like Tony's age.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Anyways,
That was a good point.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to think about like because the other thing that I think is cool with that is like the way Tony acts with his sort of like superiors, like the way that he tells New York to kind of like go fuck themselves. Like you just probably wouldn't do that if you were a principal or an accountant,
Right.
you know? But he's like, I'm out of here, and just walks out of the meeting with Carmine and Johnny, or like chases Phil Leotardo down. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
And that's like the perk. I mean, it's like that's the perk of being a free agent who's kind of above the law or outside of the law, such as us podcasters. There are no rules for running our small business.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, where was I going with this? You guys can edit this part out. There was a good point about, I don't know. I give up.
Well, I feel like you could be a real hard ass if you were a garbage man. You know, you could leave a parent teacher conference and storm out if you've got a working man's job. I just think you can't do it if you're like a white collar guy. It's all about being blue collar. Because isn't it like the Bronx Tale? Like, wouldn't you say like Robert De Niro still has that biting edge of like flying the handle, but he's like all about earning his pay?
Yeah, but that's a good example of like a movie like Gotti where there's like it's like almost of like if Italian Americans were left to their own devices and allowed to write their own origin myth.
Yeah.
I mean David Chase is Italian. I look this up, but
sure.
Everybody else who worked on The Sopranos was Jewish.
Yeah, but what other group of people is interesting enough to have a show about, you know?
Yeah.
Nobody's as colorful.
No, that's
Right.
well, except for no,
What?
I'm not gonna say.
Have you ever seen Peaky Blinders? Those guys
No.
are fun to watch.
Those are those kind of like medium like vest suit guys. I
Yeah.
think Cillian Murphy is on that show and he's really hot. The
Yeah.
guy from 28 Days Later.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also interesting like to witness Tony being such a dick to his superiors, like such a rogue, and then being kind of so transparently under the influence of Melfi.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, when they have throughout the series, you watch kind of their transference and counter-transference play out. And every time Tony informs her that he wants to fuck her, she does what any kind of trained psychoanalyst would do and says, like, let's talk this through. That's part of the process, right?
That's what my guy does too. That's what Dr. Allen does.
You're like, I really want to suck your dick.
Yeah.
It's like, we've gone over this, Michael.
Oh, why do you want to suck my dick?
But he's such like a provincial and such a heathen, he doesn't understand kind of the kind of meta, like what's going on a meta level. So every time she hits him with, let's talk this through, like, let's talk about your feelings, he feels rejected. So he's like, yeah, I have a girlfriend too. it's like this like blustering, bloviating male ego, which is like very charming.
Right. Have you ever been to psychotherapy?
No, but
therapy
I've been told that it would benefit me.
Mm.
I'm a big, I'm interested in like human psychology, which is why I like the show to begin with, because
Yeah.
it's basically a show about human psychology, not about the mob or New
Right.
Jersey even or whatever. But like, just it's a personal.
But those people who think it is a show about that can enjoy it too, which I think is so
Right,
like,
exactly.
really cool. Like
Mhm.
like I think I don't know if I talked about this last time, but there was a bar in Jersey that played the finale. They had like come have dinner and watch The Sopranos, and then
Mhm.
when it went to black at the end, they thought the TV was broken. And they beat up the bartender, and then like and then like Deb's mom, who like works for like an elevator company, not to like denigrate her or anything, but like she wrote a letter to HBO and she was like, "You better give that man whatever he wants because you'll be making the biggest mistake of your life if you ever take that show off the air."
Yeah. The Sopranos season 20.
Well, then it's also like just all you have to do is like go on YouTube and look at the comments and like sometimes. Like I sent Anna a clip this week that was like Tony Soprano destroys liberals, shows us the value of hard work, and it's the scene where he's like buying fraudulent property, and then like people go like one of my favorite scenes is when Christopher gets in the fight with when Christopher pulls the gun on Patsy and Patsy picks up a pipe, because it's kind of like, and everyone's like, "That's right, Patsy's a real gangster and Christopher's a punk."
You live your life on like 5 Sopranos clips.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I know. And then Anna comes to my house. She's like, media theory about the show. And I'm like, what the fuck are you fucking talking about?
No, but our previous conversation about The Sopranos was like, so who do you think is like the hottest chick on the show?
Yeah.
And I said it's Charmaine Bucco.
Yeah. Oh, I hate Charmaine Bucco so much. She's
Really?
such a cunt.
Oh.
I think Artie calls her a cunt. She's like she reminds me of like my passive aggressive upstairs neighbor who vacuums like 16 times a day and like pecks at her boyfriend's spleen. It's like that type of woman. Like there's like 2 types of women in the world. One who the type that'll like lift you up, and the type that'll wear you down into a nub. And she's like of the latter capacity.
Both successful.
Oh, I never saw that. Yeah.
Version.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah, I guess I always thought that like Artie was such a sad sack that I didn't.
Well, yeah, they sort of deserve each other. He's a pathetic cuck, but she's a ball busting harpy and shrew.
Right.
Which just like goes to show, but the finale I thought was really good. Actually, a lot of people hated it because it's sort of unresolved, but I think it gave people who are in the habit of lying to themselves a kind of a reason to hold out hope that Tony was still alive and well, and people who are in the habit of like telling themselves the truth that
right,
like he got what was coming to him.
Yeah. But he most definitely got shot in that restaurant, right?
Well, you say that because you're probably just by the fact that you interpret it that way. I would say like you're
I like, so you talking about film studies, like I've seen like doing research on the other one, like I watched like a video essay on like how the cinematography was telling you that Tony was like letting his guard down to the bell. He like looks up when he hears it.
Mhm.
He looks up when he hears it the second time. The third time he doesn't look up. He's like starting to lose his edge.
Mm-hmm.
So
and
like,
it's so good that people go to film school and think about this stuff.
yeah,
you know?
like so like I just watched this guy's like video
We're not
essay
gonna
and I was
lose
like,
the Chinese.
you convinced me. We're not gonna lose to the Chinese. What?
Well, that's why the Chinese are beating us.
Beating us at what?
The economy.
Oh, right.
That's what my parents said.
Okay. Beating us at film studies.
Yeah. Wait, who do you think is the hottest? I mean, I know Adriana's kind of the stock answer.
I mean, like I said, I said on Twitter the other day that I deeply identify with Adriana because like we have the same approach to feminism and men, and also we were both hostesses at an Italian restaurant.
Right.
But no, I mean, there's a lot of the Italian lady mob boss, like the Italian, the Italian. She was pretty hot. I think Carmela's really hot. She's
Yeah.
like underratedly hot. I mean, she dresses kind of like she's getting tennis lessons at all times, like soccer mom.
Yeah.
But like she's
she can turn it
woman.
on. I mean, she's a mom for 95% of the show, but like, you know, she can like turn it on.
Yeah. I always liked Rosalie April.
Oh, I love her. She's my favorite one. That voice that's like sandpaper dipped in honey.
Yeah. So here's something I want, because you brought up psychotherapy. So there is actually a therapist that all the comics go to, this older Jewish guy, Dr. Allen. And so I've been to him a couple times, just, you know, every once in a while I'll go in. And but you'll always run into other comics in the waiting room.
Okay.
And I think he like treats everybody like which he should be turning some people away, because like there's a
what do you mean, like
conflict
Nick Mullen,
of interest.
or?
No, actually Mullen went to see him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like the amount of shit this guy's heard.
Well, no, the funny thing about it is like a lot of my friends go, but then sometimes you'll go in the waiting room and the guy coming out will be like just some hack, like some like a bad
He's got to turn away bad comics.
You would think. I hope he does, because of what sometimes guys will walk out of that room and I'm like, what is he telling you besides quit comedy and kill yourself and go to trade school or something? I mean,
you can't respect your doctor if he's not respecting the level of comic he's taking on.
I mean, listen, all people suffer existentially.
Right,
Everyone deserves some therapy.
Not if they're not funny.
Yeah.
But there's a guy, and like I might get shit for saying this, and there's a guy who's like, he's not a bad guy, but he has a long bit that he does about like different, like what if they made dildos in different races? So he's like, a Chinese dildo, hey, you're horny again in 10 minutes. Or like, you know, black dildo. So all the different dildos, they should make racial dildos. A Jewish dildo, like you have to buy batteries not included or something.
Okay.
I don't even know if that's the bit, but I should send that to him. Anyway, I just imagine him being in the room and because you talk about this stuff, you're like, you know, am I funny? Should I keep doing comedy? Whatever. Like him being in that room, being like, and then I did the dildo joke, and and then I did the Chinese dildo joke, and some lady said I was being reductive.
That'd be great if your therapist could be like, no, that's not funny. I would drop that one. If
your therapist was just basically your editor and gave you kind of like consulted on your bits.
Yeah.
A reality check.
There's a great line in this really good book about psychoanalysis by one of my favorite writers, Janet Malcolm. That's, I think, a quote from this guy, Leo Stone, who's like this daddy of psychoanalysis, and he was like, listen, like some problems can't be solved by therapy, like being in, you know, financial dire straits, or having a serious physical illness, or being kind of like a mediocre, untalented person.
Right.
Wow.
And that's, you know, just kind of how it is.
I like how you describe a daddy of psychoanalysis.
I mean, some people are basically, you know, just bland and mediocre. I was thinking about this.
Most people.
Yeah, you can't fix
people,
that, right? Without a little bit of gumption.
Well, you just find an Italian guy who wants to do a podcast with you.
Yeah, well,
that's the problem. I mean,
I don't
that's
know.
the fundamental
Maybe my
problem.
gift is Fortnite, Mike. He burned me there. I had to get him back.
Oh, I just picked up on that. No, I was thinking about this on the walk here, about how like that's in The Sopranos, because it's a TV ensemble, every character has to be memorable in some capacity, when in reality, of course, you know, 75% of these people would be like total duds.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that role is occupied by Bobby Bacala, who's by far like the, you know, I think he's probably my least favorite character on The Sopranos.
Why don't you like me?
He's like a Charmin bear.
Yeah.
He's like a human Charmin bear. And, you know, as insufferable as Charmaine Bucco is, at least the woman has a backbone.
Right. Yeah, the relationship between him and his father was pretty funny. His dad's this, he's like, your father was the exterminator.
Yeah.
Killed a bunch of people, and yeah. But no, I just feel like think of the worst person that you know, or the most untalented person, and they're sitting in this therapist's office being like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna be successful, because everybody has the same. Everyone who does a thing has the same desires, and you know.
all I could think about.
You would hope they want to be good at it, and you would
Yeah.
hope they want to be successful. Like, what is this guy saying besides?
So
do
you were
something else with
next,
your
and
life?
this guy came out. What was your session like? Was it a good session?
I don't know. I'm just saying on 2 occasions I've run into people who I'm like, I don't know how I would help you.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's the thing. That people forget. Like now that we have this whole like upswing of the left and like socialism is the thing. Like socialism is something that works on an economic and political level to the degree that all people deserve access to the same opportunities and deserve a basic standard of living. But socialism completely falls flat on a cultural level because guess what? Some people are like hotter and more charismatic and smarter and funnier than others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's hard because everybody else feels bad when they're around you.
Yeah, but I mean, that's just how it is. It reminded me, I don't know if I'm allowed to introduce this, but it reminded me of this article that you sent me about this Me Too guy, Jack Smith the Fourth.
Oh, we're going to get into that, huh?
I mean, are we? We don't have to, but you can tell this guy's a stunod because he has the fourth appended to his name.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like people who have PhD in their Twitter handle.
What kind of pressure is that? After like third or fourth, like they expect you to name your fucking first kid that name, right?
Yeah.
Like I would hate that. I would fucking hate it. That like I would break the cycle, but I don't know.
What would you name your kid?
I'd name them something like a big fuck you, like Mike Recine hyphen Anderson.
Or you just name your kid "fuck you" and you'd be like, he's Japanese.
Yeah.
He identifies as being Japanese.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get to that article in a second, but also I do want to talk about real quickly. You talk about peripheral characters. Let's talk about Vincent Curatola's Twitter.
Oh my god, it's so amazing.
Yeah. Vincent Curatola played Johnny Sack, and he's a guy who's, I don't know if he's done a ton of stuff since The Sopranos. First of all, can you live off the residuals from that show?
Good question. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that was a big enough show where they're still probably set. I mean, I'm just talking out my butt, but I mean, look at that actor that just got made fun of for working at Trader Joe's. But Sopranos was bigger than that show, so I think they're fine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know what else he's really doing besides being that he loves to quote. So follow Vincent Curatola on Twitter. I've tried to tweet at him a couple times. I've never gotten a response.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
but Jeffrey Joseph said he was like a really sweet guy.
What was the tweet he had? I'm like trying to look it up now. My favorite one. Hashtag socialism is nothing more than jealousy of the ambitious. He means jealousy, but he spelled it jealously.
Jealously, yeah.
It's beautiful. Hashtag Marx, hashtag communism, at Kamala Harris, at Senator Booker, at Senator Schumer, at Pontifex. He's like, he has like everybody up in that. But this is a beautiful thing about, I feel like that's like the principal relationship between like
Cory Booker's like, this is a shame because I love Sopranos. It's a good show.
But that's like, it's amazing that like, I think the directors like and producers like David Chase are completely brilliant because they take all these kind of like no-name shvuyadels with like fantasies of omnipotence and they draw out incredible performances from them.
Yeah.
And you realize acting talent is in some sense like a passive, like a vessel for
the writing,
for the kind of like psychological plausibility that the writing can attain through the genius of the director or the script writer or whoever.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to really like give it up to all the unsung heroes who like worked on the back end of the show.
Yeah, because this guy is kind of like a basic Italian guy. I mean, he's got 3,500 followers, and his last three, Vincent Curatola,
he's like 13K.
He has 13K. Yeah.
Oh, he's following 13.
Yeah.
Why stand?
Wow, I'm gonna beat out Vincent Curatola in the next couple of months. Sick.
Hell yeah. But his last three photos on Twitter are like 9/11, the buildings exploding.
They are, yeah.
Yeah, like I was
course.
like, oh, let me check this out. And it's just like, all right. Don't forget who did this.
Is he talking about the Jews or the Muslims?
Right.
I don't
Let me
know.
follow
Yeah.
the link to the credible source.
Who did it, Vincent?
Not secure. www.thesleuthjournal.com. It's just a picture.
It was a really nice day when him and Anthony Cumia connected because they were tweeting at each other, and then Vincent Curatola did the show. He was like, "It was an honor to be on your show, sir."
Don't forget who the scumbags who did this. Hashtag Obama refused to answer them for what they are. And then he did what you said at Schumer, at Cynthia Nixon, at Cory Booker, at Kamala Harris.
Right. Yeah, it's almost like you could put, because there were so many bad actors on Sopranos. Like that guy that played Jimmy Altieri was especially bad, and the guy that played Gigi was like very bad. They were almost like insultingly bad.
Yeah. And but I think like it almost works out because again their stiffness like brings out kind of like is a contrast against like the really good subtle acting of somebody like James Gandolfini, who's a genius.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a basketball team. Like, it's all chemistry working together. You got your role players, you got your star player, Gandolfini.
Yeah. You got your J.R. Smith.
Yeah.
I'm
high. Is it our
Curatola's J.R. Smith? He had a tweet. He quoted somebody. Actually, I remember when Frank Pellegrino died. Frank Pellegrino was the guy who played like the director of the FBI or the FBI chief.
Okay.
In Sopranos, and he also owned Rayo's,
and
he passed away. And then Steve Van Zandt, who has like hundreds of thousands of Twitter followers, said something about the Trump administration like rolling back Planned Parenthood. And he's like, "This is terrible." And then Curatola quote tweeted him, and he was like, "Frank Pellegrino died today, you fucking asshole."
That's amazing.
Like he's being disrespectful. But there was another thing where somebody was like, Mayor de Blasio just got a $30,000 raise from his $250,000 salary. That's $280,000 a year to be and Curatola quote tweeted that. And he was like, "You nailed it."
Yeah, my barber was talking so much shit about de Blasio, and I was like, You're good, man.
Yeah.
You go to town. Talking about putting jails next to good neighborhoods. It's not right. He's not a businessman.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the beauty of like Vincent Curatola is that he's like exactly the type of guy that The Sopranos parodies, like a small town, small time kind of like endangered male psyche who lives like he never leaves his sandbox.
Yeah.
He's like the classic example of like a big fish in a small pond.
He's like, "I really represented myself well on that show, I think."
I wasn't a rat and I wasn't a faggot.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if the guy who played Vito had any trouble like getting work and stuff, or if he was, if he had any.
Why? Because he was gay, or because he was fat?
Played a gay.
He was gay.
It's gross.
That guy of all. That is a little bit kind of inconsistent for me because that guy didn't seem that gay. Like Paulie seems way gayer.
Yeah.
Anyway, should we?
Yeah, let's get into this article.
Should we talk about that?
Or no? Because we've been going about 52 minutes.
Oh, we have?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, I would like to talk about that because I remember like, so I watched the show when I was like in like 2010, and then I rewatched it with Deborah like over so we're still in I'm at my second go through the series, but we were watching it and she was like, "I think that you thought when you were younger that this kind of behavior is okay, like the way that you treat other people that you're dating." And an article just came out recently, and it was from Jezebel, and it said it was about
the next step from #MeToo is into the gray areas.
Into the gray areas where it's like you're dating someone and you treat them shitty.
Yeah, so just set up the story real fast. It's Jack Smith the Fourth.
Yeah, Jack Smith the Fourth from Mike.com. He's a woke guy. He's a feminist, and he's been accused of sort of some like manipulative behavior with people that he's dated.
He's an ally.
He's an ally
in the modern parlance. Yeah, I guess I skimmed this thing, and I guess he's accused of quote gaslighting and coercing women into sex acts. Like he would basically kind of belittle them.
Yeah.
Emotionally.
Yeah.
Or kind of ghost them, and then they would get anxious, and he would kind of walk back his treatment. Like he was doing this kind of like contradictory like roller coaster ride of things.
It seems like he had like a playbook almost where he'd be like, all right, we're gonna go on a date, I'm gonna get you a little drunk, we're gonna start a fight, and then to make up for the fight we're gonna have sex.
It seemed very intentional.
So I mean, shady.
This is a very long article, and it's weird that in the first sentence or so, Jezebel was like, this is a thing that we've been reporting on for over a year, which is shocking to me because there's nothing to report. I mean, this is shitty behavior, and he's an asshole, but there's no crime, and the idea that he would even be at risk of losing his job, which he has now, he's no longer with Mike, like, is insane. He didn't stalk anybody. He didn't rape anybody. I mean, the guy seems like an asshole. All these women were like, I was attracted to his social media clout and his politics. And it's like, is it surprising like that a guy who's attracted to performative leftism would be kind of an abuser in his private life?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not.
It's like, okay, so like if he like, it's just boy, I don't know where I'm going there.
Well, I guess what happened was, so some girl in the article claimed that they went out, and then he was like kind of sulky, and then he accused her of like being a liar, and she got really upset, and then he like coerced her into sex, right? Which I think is pretty shitty, but
the thing that's like that bothers me about him is it's so contradictory to what he's representing. So like, I don't mind that like this company, Mike, doesn't want to work with him anymore, but like, I don't think that he should be like ostracized from like finding a new job. You know what I mean?
Is it contradictory? I mean, this is what they said about Harvey Weinstein. I think that there's no inherent contradiction between Harvey Weinstein literally donating money to support progressive feminist causes like abortion and reproductive health for women, when it turns out that he was a weird sex pervert who actually did physically assault women.
Right.
There's really no contradiction inherently between progressive politics and kind of like retrograde behavior. I also think this is a case that folds nicely into our discussion of The Sopranos, because if you really read between the lines, and people are going to get very mad at me and, say Anna's doing the victim blaming, these women are just as manipulative and crazy as he is. Like the one Emily Kay, who...
But you think 5 of them sort of corroborating the same story?
I think this guy is a type. He attracts mentally unstable women because he's mentally unstable. I mean, listen, I was thinking about this from the perspective of this girl. What was her name? I have this in my notes. The one... was it Nina
podcaster
or Jen? I don't remember. The girl that he took home.
There's a lot of like fake names.
Yeah, the girl that he like emotionally berated because she had misrepresented allegedly her age and her dating history, none of which was true. If a man went back with me to my apartment and tried to insult me like that, I would laugh in his face and kick him out.
Mm-hmm.
But she felt compelled to like entertain him and to apologize. I mean,
yeah, to some degree because of the power he had, but like that I guess you're right. I mean, you would hope.
I would be shocked.
Have some level of.
And the thing is, like, it works 9 out of 10 times. It only doesn't work if you really run into like a rare, like fringe case, like sexual predator, and those people are extremely like in the minority. If you tell a guy to back down, men are so intimidated by women. That's another, that's the beauty of like Tony and Melfi's relationship. He's so intimidated by her, and he's intimidated by Carmela, and he's like this like big boss of like New Jersey.
Like
I don't know.
Dog.
And then, this other woman basically tweeted something to the effect of like, when your abuser's career is thriving.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it's all about for these people. It's like scoring career opportunities and social media points.
Do you think that behavior is abusive?
What
he did to that girl?
Yeah, I think that he's kind of a shitty, abusive guy, but he's done nothing criminal.
Yeah,
he's maladjusted and like emotionally fucked up for sure. He needs some psychoanalysis.
I can get on board with all that.
But
these ladies are a little crazy, but he's like a shitty dude, and he's just choosing the like an easier target.
Yeah, he's like choosing
So you
the
think
Gloria
it's
Trillos.
But
Right.
I don't necessarily think it's their fault, but they could have a higher defense.
But you think it's 5 women with like similar personality traits that are...
Yeah, no, of course not. It's not their fault. I don't know, but I think, I don't know. I'm just shocked. I think like maybe as like a Russian woman in her 30s, I'm just shocked by the way that young American women behave, and young American men behave as well. Like there's almost... Oh
Okay.
yeah. No, there's a profound misunderstanding on both sides of each other's psychology. And women are completely like these, I would bet all these women are kind of like young, liberal, well-educated, middle class. They don't know how to, use their own power to their advantage.
Right.
Yeah, that's what it kind of sounds like. I also feel like sometimes when you deal with people who are manipulative, it kind of like takes you off guard a little bit because it's not something you're used to dealing with. And if you're not, if you haven't encountered it before, it does make you go, oh, there's something wrong with me, And I think they kind of do that.
Right.
They kind of convince you that you're crazy or you have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So
I
they
guess
can...
that's the nature of gaslighting. But I read in the article that this woman, Nina, who he like emotionally abused that night and then had sex with, she had a meticulously kept handwritten daily calendar and series of notes
interesting
that she kept about her date with this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, nobody deserves that kind of ill treatment, but you teach people how to treat you, and you have to like put your foot down sometimes.
Deb says the same thing.
Yeah. And it really does work. It's a very bizarre this is a very bizarre story. I always like, what would the women of The Sopranos think of me too? They would laugh at it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, maybe we should talk about like the women of The Sopranos. That's an interesting topic.
Mm-hmm.
But you were like interested in this question of like manipulation.
Yeah, because I feel like when I was in my like mid-20s, I treated a lot of people kind of shitty because I was with somebody who was not always honest, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And then that made me be like, oh well, everyone's conniving and everyone's like
yeah,
that kind of made me
like
defensive.
projected your paranoia onto other people.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think like I guess that my issue with mainstream feminism is that it really kind of like talks down to women in the guise of empowerment. Like I said this a million times before, and it imply like the implication there is that women are victims and that they're also morally superior, and that's not true because God knows women have a tremendous amount of agency that they either use in clandestine ways or don't know how to use appropriately. Like, I mean, that's what like one of the best things about The Sopranos, like somebody should write a feminist analysis about it, is like how much agency the women have.
Mm-hmm.
They're like ostensibly these women live kind of under the yoke of this like old traditional patriarchal model like of wives and gumars and whatever, but there's like a really great scene, I think a very underrated, overlooked scene where Carmela sort of emotionally manipulates and browbeats Tony into giving her money to donate to East Coast colleges so that she can sway Meadows' college admission in favor of staying closer to home because she doesn't want her to go to Berkeley.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking deep shit.
Yeah.
It's like what a mom will do.
Yeah, exactly. Or you think about
Use
like
all
Janice.
Soprano, oh my god.
Who's like one of my, I think she's probably the best television character after like Stevie Janowski from Eastbound and Down, the sidekick.
Oh
I haven't seen it.
It's been so long since I've seen. Yeah,
I think you guys have to rewatch that next.
Okay, I remember season 2 I didn't like as much because I thought it was like kind of. Did you like season 2 where he's in Mexico?
No, yeah, I hated that one. Yeah,
okay.
I thought you meant of The Sopranos. I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really like the Mexican season, but Janice, right? Like, she's one of these people who is like, is a total like aggressive, craven opportunist who's literally like hunting around with a metal detector in like her mother's basement.
Yeah.
But who packages herself as kind of like this really spiritual person. And it reminds me of like countless art girls I know who are basically like,
oh yeah, just that psychopath that you hate. Like I love his mom. Like how fucking crazy his mom is.
yeah,
but
she's amazing.
But there was that scene where Janice goes to anger management, and the black lady's like, she's like, they reprimand me and they don't do it to anyone else. She's like, yeah, that's because you're a minority. And let me tell you something. I marched, and then they come through my neighborhood and blare their music. Like she's like, she's like being racist, but you know,
yeah,
justifying it because she marched.
I mean, it's like that character is so like psychologically dense, and then like the character of Livia, where I think there's a scene where Tony tells Livia like, if you had been born after like feminism, you would have been a real gangster. Like if she knew how to like apply her wits to like climbing the career ladder or whatever.
Yeah.
But I read like some Wikipedia, like the literal David Chase Wikipedia, and he talks about how that character is based on his own mother.
Yeah.
Who was like apparently like she was a nervous woman who dominated any situation she was in by being so needy and always on the verge of hysteria, and he calls her a passive aggressive drama queen.
I mean, like all of our moms are like that to some degree, right?
I guess a little bit.
Maybe not like full blown, but like they could definitely make a holiday about themselves.
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
I mean, this is like Freud's whole like castrating fantasy. That's like the basis of season 1 when he learns that his mom is gonna like conspiring to put a hit out on him or whatever.
And he's got to castrate that Jewish guy to make him talk or to make him to bend his knee to the hotel business. Hell yeah!
You just
that's the first 4 episodes.
You just thought of an instance of castrating.
Well, it happens in season 1.
I think no, but I think you're probably right that has something to do with like Tony's like castration fear.
Hell yeah! Take that, Mike. All right, good job, Matt. I guess I'm at a point in my life where I'm like, do I read? Do I start reading, or do I just continue to be an idiot? Who paints avocados on my girlfriend's iPad?
Right, and you can't read like the novelization of The Sopranos.
No. I mean, are you going to read like Mario Puzo?
I mean, I don't know, like, because I listen to Chapo and some of these leftist podcasts, and people will reference like authors and stuff. I'm like, I don't even know where to start. You know, I didn't really
listen, Mike. I've read so much in my life, and what good it's done me.
Yeah.
You know, as my grandpa.
You don't even have a gaming chair.
I know. As my grandfather used to say, don't read because you're going to be blind and you'll never find a husband. He's right.
He was right.
It's actually deeper than that.
Yeah. You got time.
Great.
Yeah, but I guess another question is: have you ever dealt with manipulative people in your own life, and how would you deal with them? Because I feel like when I was younger, I didn't know how to recognize it.
Yeah,
and then I ended up throwing a fan into a wall.
Really?
Yeah.
That's like very mob classic.
Yeah, and then she's like, "Oh, I can't live like this." But I'm like, I don't want to say you made me do it, but.
Wait, you threw a female fan into a
fan? No, I'm sorry. like a ball.
Oh, I thought you meant
like a box fan.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You made me do it. I just picked it.
Oh, I thought you threw a woman into a wall.
Oh my god, I really like. I just love stand-up comedy. Just pick her up and throw her into a wall.
I mean, it's like when Ralphie, kills his stripper baby mama with the braces, which is like one of the saddest scenes.
Yeah.
In The Sopranos for women, along with the scene where Junior pies the face of Roberta for flapping her mouth about him giving her cunnilingus.
Yeah,
and along with the Adriana Lacerva murder scene.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, of course, everybody deals with manipulation, I guess. I think I like the show so much because it speaks to me as like a person who grew up in a very dysfunctional immigrant family.
Mm-hmm.
Like to grow up an immigrant and to grow up dysfunctional is like you necessarily are forced to develop an understanding of human nature and human psychology because it's the only way you're going to survive.
Right. Yeah, I like that I'm with somebody now who, like, if I threw a fan, she'd be like, pick that fan up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They understand. And they also work with children, so Deb really understands like a tantrum when she sees
Well, yeah, but that's why she's with you and why you're with her, because she understands on some level that like all men are just big babies and you have to placate them. No offense, guys.
No,
Right.
none taken.
But that's like a happy relationship in a lot of ways. If you
Yeah.
if you make them feel
Yeah,
special.
if both sides, yeah, that's all kind of gender
She goes,
roles
you
are.
used a drill. Yeah.
And that's like, imagine what would have happened if one of these girls that this Jack Smith IV had picked up had fought back and was just like, not even insulting or mean, but broke his balls a little. He wouldn't know what hit him.
Yeah.
He would be like humbled before the gods.
Right. Yeah, that is one thing I notice about Deb and some of the other girls that I'm friends with is they don't really allow themselves to be victims.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard. Like sometimes you really can't control for it, but that's I mean, that's a very difficult thing to say as a woman because you're like accused of like victim blaming.
Right.
But I think to be a woman who insists on her kind of inevitable victimhood is to be an aggressor that masquerading as a victim. It's to be an aggressive, manipulative person in your own right. Like poor little me. And that's the thing. If you want,
and that's exactly what Olivia Soprano kind of did.
Yeah.
Right. Like, yeah.
Yeah. While actually being the real boss of that family.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Nice.
Well,
so that's What did we learn today, Matthew?
Well, all men are cucks, and
all women are whores.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're all whoas.
Whoas.
The other thing that was really sad was when Chris and Paulie kill that waiter. I think that bothered me.
Oh gosh, I don't remember that. What season is that?
5.
Okay.
When the guy doesn't get a tip.
I see. So it's like a random act of violence. Yeah.
That was messed up. Is there any character, before we wrap up, is there any character that you relate to the most?
Tony? I think everybody relates to Tony. All men that I've liked in my life have related to Tony because they are basically like kind of like middle class artsy guys with like working class pretensions or like origins, and it's like very cute. I mean, who else? Like I think Adriana, because not to toot my own horn, but she's kind of the most actually, in spite of looking like a common whore, she's the woman on the show who is actually kind of the most straightforward and not manipulative.
Mm-hmm.
And like decent. She's like a hooker with a heart of gold, and all she gets in the end is like her nose rubbed in it.
Right.
What about you guys? Who do you relate to?
I think maybe Ralph Cifaretto.
That's another one all men relate to.
Really?
I think with Christopher, just because he's like on the outside trying to get made. I mean, I'm not that far.
You don't try though.
Right. He tries really hard. I guess I just want to try hard.
Why do you relate to Ralphie?
I think maybe like being a comic, like sometimes I feel like I'm smarter than a lot of people and more competent, and I don't not getting the like respect you deserve. And then also like being able to use humor to sort of.
Maybe I should feel more like Anthony, just unwanted.
Anthony Jr.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Anthony Jr. often.
Like that scene where he's just on his computer and his dad comes in and just fucking shakes his head.
Oh, because he's laughing?
Yeah.
He's giggling like a fucking schoolgirl.
Yeah. He's just like on 4chan or like YMNTD or whatever.
Actually, laughing is kind of gay when you think about it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
sure.
Expressing,
it's betraying
emotion.
your weakness.
Any emotion is just fucking
gay, yeah.
Oh my god, I went to Just Salad one time, and I was behind this Puerto Rican guy, and he had like tinted glasses, and he had loyalty, honor, respect tattooed on his forearms, and he's just telling the guy what to put in his salad and not showing any emotion, and he's like, yeah, tomatoes, yeah, walnuts, and the guy's like, anything else? He's like, nah, that's it, and just takes his salad and walks out. And the Just Salad guy was like, wow, that guy's tough. Like, after he left.
It's pretty tough to eat salads.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. I want to go to the salad bar where you get roasted.
Yeah, it sure is. Anything else?
I don't know. There's so much to say about the show.
Yeah.
There's a great before we wrap up. I will plug this Instagram account that has nothing to do with me, but I feel very honored and flattered because they used one of my Sopranos screen caps recently. It's called the Museum of Science and Trucking. You guys should follow it. A friend put me onto it, and it's really good.
Those are two things that are usually closely together, right? You can't have one without the other. It's like the yin and the yang.
I want that to be a real place. Is that real?
No, but it could be.
Right.
It's something that would...
It'd be like a small town's like claim to fame.
Yeah,
you know, like we're like
a
Emancipate. Yeah.
New Jersey perversion. Anyway.
Speaking of Instagram, this is something that's kind of relatable. I follow an account called Alpha Leaders. And I know it sounds like a parody, but it's good. There's good stuff in here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, didn't they just let you down recently?
Yeah, they did. But really, yeah, that is the funny thing about.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. This is great. It's a thing about, like, grinding. You got to work hard. How to not get in your own way. So there's good info that's prevalent, because I do fall into a trap of like being lazy sometimes, which I think a lot of us do. But then a lot of it just sounds like a suburban dad, where it's like, here's the rich guy and here's the poor guy, and the poor guy wears goggles on his head and $500 shoes.
This is like kind of like I can imagine like Felix Biederman running like a parody account like this.
Yeah. But that's the other thing too. People go, oh, the rich people don't dress. But then what do you do with your money if you can't wear it?
Invest it.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah. Mike wants to be able to wear his money.
I know that's why Italians are the humiliated poor man's Jews, because they have a compulsion to be flashy.
I know. You take your last $400 and you buy a belt with it.
Yeah.
A belt buckle, just so everyone knows that you have money. And then it's like, I don't know. I forget what else is in here. It's like tips by a billionaire, Warren Buffett, some Jeff Bezos quotes in here.
Just real, top of the internet stuff.
But it's like, we can't all be successful, right?
No.
I mean, Jordan Peterson says you only listen to 1/10 of 1% of all the musicians out there, filmmakers. There's winners and there's losers.
Well, if he says it.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
In the game of life, there are winners and there are losers. This is an ancient New Jersey proverb.
It's on the thing when you. And then here's one: is like a cute girl in glasses. Having a soft heart in a cruel world is courage, not weakness.
Yeah, tell that to Adriana Lacerva.
Yeah, really. But yeah, I think that's it. But your podcast is doing well. You're like an alpha, right? It's doing better than some of the other ones.
Yeah, it's doing a little bit better than some of the other podcasts that we have turf war with.
Oh, okay.
Hell
Yeah. We're like the Soprano crew and they're the April crew.
Okay. Or maybe you're like the Lupertazis.
Oh, yeah,
and they're
yeah.
the Sopranos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right. Can't complain.
Sorry, this show kind of went off the rails when I started looking at. I should have had some Alpha Leaders posts.
Well, we've been
ready.
yapping for a very long time. You guys probably have to edit the shit out of this.
Yeah, I'm going to take it down a little bit.
I'll edit it.
No, you won't. You'll never.
Yes, I will. I'll do it right now.
All right.
How long have we been going? Like an hour and
Hour 20.
Hour 20.
How long
Right.
how long are
It's
these
supposed to be like
episodes?
an hour.
Okay. Yeah. So I got 20 minutes of material.
I mean, I'm
to
only going
Yeah.
to cut it to like 110. I don't want to like work my butt
cut. Yeah.
out.
I'll do it.
No, you
No, I will.
You won't.
I will this time. All right, guys, we have a live show at Punchline Philly on October 24th. You should come to that, buy tickets. It's on the website, punchlinephilly.com.
Yep.
Check out Red Scare.
Did you have anything else you wanted to plug other than
plugs?
the podcast?
I'm a defunct layabout, so no. I'm going to be giving a talk in Toronto about art stuff, but that's probably not interesting to the podcast audience. And then, I have a podcast. It's called Red Scare.
I think we have a solid 80 Canadians listening.
Yeah.
Do we?
No, I think it's way more than that.
I might be in LA also. I don't know.
Cool.
Nice.
They can check your Twitter then.
Yeah. Yeah, that's that.
You can also check Anna's Twitter for the N-word.
Yeah. Yeah, it's my name, Anna Khachiyan.
Did that ever? Anyway, all right. We got to go, everybody.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Oh, yeah. Cunnilingus and psychiatry brought us to this point. Thanks for having me.
Bye.